episode of TBI Uncovered. The platform now allows traumatic brain survivors, those with brain injuries, brain conditions, oh my God, gunshot survivors, stroke survivors, AVM survivors, survivors of various brain conditions, survivors alike, the disability community, caregivers, medical professionals, organizations, and anyone associated with brain injuries to share their stories, provide tips plus resources, and bring awareness to those impacted. I'm your host and TBI survivor, Erica Renee. And I'm so excited for this episode today. My guest is a heavy hitter in her own right. She's an entrepreneur, all around, published author, clothing brand owner of God is My Glow Up brand, ambassador of YouVersion Bible app, and her most important titles. She's a child of God, wife, and a mother. But she's also an AVM survivor. So let's welcome another survivor changing the world, Minda Thurman. Uh-oh. Minda Thurman.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing so well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain not one bit. It won't help no way.
I'm so
So
glad. So glad to be here.
thank you. I'm glad to have you here. So to get started, let's. I know a little bit about you already, and I feel like we're survivor sisters in Christ. So I know a little bit about you already. But tell my audience who you are and what's AVM and what's your AVM story.
Okay, wow. I knew you were gonna you gonna bomb me with the questions, so I was ready. I was like, okay, let's do this. Um, so my name is Minda Thurman. I'm a new Mrs. I am
Hey, hey.
a wife, a mom. I have two 8-year-olds and a 14-year-old. I am a United States Air Force veteran, and I'm now an author. That's a new title for me, so I'm getting used to that. And I also recently the book that was recently released is called My Disentanglement: An AVM Survivor Story. It pretty much highlights my whole I would say recovery
Mhm.
process, not in its entirety, but just I would say at least those beginning stages. In February of 2020, I suffered an AVM rupture. And for what those that don't know, an AVM is a tangle of blood vessels. It can be in any of your major organs. For me, it was my brain.
Mhm.
What happened was it essentially, when you have those weakened vessels, they can balloon and essentially turn into an aneurysm. And in my case, my AVM ruptured. So February 2020, it was a regular
Mhm.
day. And I was we were getting ready to like go to brunch or something that day. And all of a sudden, worst headache of my entire life. I can't describe it
Mhm.
other than to say it was just the most pressure. That was like the most like like a super tightening
Mhm.
in my head. I can't even describe, like someone's tightening a bolt.
Mhm.
You're going too
Sounds
tight. It
painful. It
was,
sounds
yeah,
painful.
it was really painful.
Mhm.
And I immediately lost feeling in my legs. That's when I knew. I was like, I think there was a part of me that was just like, okay, you need to cry out to God like right now,
Mhm.
because this was never normal. I'd started vomiting. So there was
Mhm.
just all these like back-to-back symptoms that were just had things that had just never happened like that before. And I knew something was absolutely wrong. And it was just this dread inside of me. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but this doesn't feel like it's a good thing.
Mhm.
Thankfully, my now husband, he was
Mhm.
there at the time and was able to call, the ambulance and 911 to come and help me. And it's just I'm just so I feel so fortunate, so blessed, because just the quickness of
Mhm.
everyone just getting to it. Because if you've ever been through something like this, or you've had a loved one experience this, time is not something you can take lightly. You every minute counts, every
Yes,
second. So
absolutely.
they came. I know that ultimately I had to get airlifted to another
Mhm.
hospital. And I just know the doctors were not giving, kind of a good outlook, good prognosis at that
Mhm.
time. When they got me to the other hospital, they basically they had to like drill a hole in my skull, relieve pressure because I had so much bleeding on my brain. And that creates a lot of pressure. And you
Yeah.
can people go brain dead and or
Mhm.
just die quickly from that alone. So they put in a shunt, so they had to relieve the pressure. And then about, I think it was like 4 days later, 5 days later, something like that, they actually did the surgery to remove the actual tangle, the AVM. So had a craniotomy. Oh, they basically take a portion of your skull out to do the surgery and put it back, and that's what happened. And then in doing so, and just with all the bleeding on the hemorrhaging and everything, it was on my left side, so it affected my right side functioning.
Hmm.
And so my right side was kind of like this dead side. Like it was just crazy. And all the things that you're used to doing on your own, like being in the hospital, it was like it doesn't register that you can't do those
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and go over here.
Mhm.
And you think when you get up, you're good, and you realize, like, nope, I'm not. I better
Wait,
sit
wait a
down.
minute. You better slow up.
Yeah, so
Um,
I spent, surprisingly, I mean, it just showed you how fast God works. I think he just was like, there's a mission, there's something you need to accomplish, so we gonna hurry up and get you out of here. But my kids were definitely a factor in kind of pushing me to make use of my time with occupational therapy and physical therapy while I was in the hospital, because it was like, I don't want to be here. First of all, the food was terrible. So I'm grateful for my care. Don't get me wrong. The food was terrible, but yeah, I was ready to go. I wanted like some real food, and I was like, I can't do this no more. So help somebody. Somebody walk me down, they had like the gait belts and all of that, and I was like, let's just do these laps. So when they'd say I can go home, I'm ready to go home. So I think I was in the hospital for like, I don't even remember. I don't know. Was it like a 2 weeks? I think it was like a 2 week thing, maybe. It might have been a little bit less, could have been, but most people, they're not out that fast. And for me, it was right during COVID. It's February. Matter of fact, it was my mother's birthday, which is crazy because I always talk about this because me and my mom, we joke and we were like prank each other and stuff like that. I remember when I was younger, I used to like put rubber bands around, like if you have the spray hose in the kitchen, I used to put the rubber bands on the spray hose, like April Fool's Day, and like be like, Mom, I think something's wrong with the sink, and it would just like spray her everywhere. One time I like laid in the floor with like ketchup all over me. It was like, I'm
oh, my
bleeding.
goodness.
And my mom was
Minda,
like, she was mad at
Minda.
me. I know, I'm terrible. I know. So I did all of that as a kid, and it's just something that we've always kind of done. So with this, I don't think she believed them when they were calling, and then it registered, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" And she was at the hospital like right away. But yeah, so that's pretty much what happened, and it was just I had to essentially learn how to speak again, walk, talk, process information. Just everything was kind of like starting over like a baby, and it was really annoying because I felt like, they treat you like glass, like you're gonna break, and I was like, no, I can do it myself, and I really couldn't. So it was like, I really need these people to help me. And so it was a check on my pride, definitely. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. And thankfully, I think with COVID just kind of being at the beginning, I got released from the hospital like right as COVID was like going crazy. So I was thankful. The only problem was that because of COVID, a lot of things shut down. So I wasn't actually able to get physical therapy for months. It was at least a 6-month, 7-month wait before I could get into an appointment for physical therapy because of COVID. Everything was only, emergency stuff related only. So because my therapy wasn't like a dire emergency, they wouldn't let me, start. So yeah, that was kind of a pain, but it worked
Sure.
out for the good. I ended up doing a lot of therapy on my own, a lot of walking and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Good. So I don't know. I didn't hear that you say it triggered it. Is that you think something triggered it to occur, or do you
Um,
think it just happened out of nowhere? Like,
for me, it came out of nowhere. I
well,
wasn't.
I
I wasn't expecting this at all. And I know some people, like, it's weird because I thought when I was thinking about it, it was like, in retrospect, there were some signs probably.
Mm-hmm.
I had really bad migraines since my like early 20s, like right around the time I joined the military. And I had they were bad. Like I was on some migraine medications and stuff like that at one point. So I never understood why that was. And I just thought, always kind of like assume maybe it's related to like, your cycle or something, just everyday stuff. But I remembered after I had my kids, because my twins, that particular year after they were born, I had a seizure. And I didn't know that that's what it was at the time. Like I think we see on TV like what we feel like seizures look like, but they're not all the same. So for me, I was literally shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't control myself. And it was horrible because nobody, I understand they probably didn't suspect something like that, like a brain thing. When you're dealing with like a woman that just gave birth, you're more concerned with, the baby and the health of the mother, recovery type of thing, but not so much your brain. So I don't think it registered to like check or anything to see if anything neurological was going on, but that definitely was a thing. And the more people I meet in our community, I realized like childbirth can trigger ruptures and can trigger certain things because there's a lot of blood pressure. If you're pushing, having a kid, there's a lot of
your head. So
exactly. So I had no idea at the time, but and it was a long period of time before this happened after that. So I didn't register, but it can happen to anyone. There a lot of research is saying it's genetic. So it can be passed down. And then more people that I meet, it's been genetic. Sometimes it skips a generation, sometimes it doesn't. They say if you've had it, there's a 50% chance that your children can have it. So I just recommend people getting scans, especially if you have migraines or anything unusual. Just get yourself scanned, MRAs, MRIs, CTs, worst case scenario, angiograms, that sort of thing.
I appreciate you saying that. So if you heard what you said, if you have any symptoms, migraines, get checked out. Don't think, oh, it's just a headache, they go away. I'll take Tylenol. It'll be okay. No, get it checked out, please.
Yeah, I was 35. I was 35 when it happened. I'm 37 now, so like I thought, thanks. So do you, girl. So do you. I was so like, I just felt like I was actually in the best kind of shape of my life. Like I had just started going back playing basketball with my husband at the time. We were best friends, so I just started like getting back into fitness and like, oh, I can do this now, and kind of getting my life back in a sense, and or so I thought. And then this happened. It was like, ooh, you thought, and yeah.
So do you have headaches often, and do you notice certain things when you have headaches?
I would say now the majority of my headaches, they've kind of pretty much subsided. I have different, like, I would say weird experiences because like obviously I have a scar from having my craniotomy, and my scar, it occasionally there's like a lot of pain. It'll like throb or whatever, but the headaches actually subsided quite a bit. I would say for the majority once I had my surgery. When they removed the AVM, the headaches went away for the most part. But yeah, I'm still one of those like weirdos. I could tell you if it's about to storm because my little scar starts tingling and I start getting like this throbbing in my head, like, okay. And I just look up at the sky and I'm like, yeah, it's about to rain. And then storms. So
one thing I notice about when I have a headache, because I have headaches too off and on. But I know that when I drink water, that helps alleviate the head pain for me sometimes. Now if it gets too worse, like I'm like, okay, I'm like, I need like I know when I'm doing too much, I need to lay down. My head start hurting and get a little throb, I'm like, time to lay down. That's like my alarm to lay down. I'm doing too much. I need to rest my mind and just relax my feet and do something else besides focus on the computer screen, because my head like, oh, wait a minute, time's up. I give y'all a day, so time's up.
Yeah, I
You
would
gotta
definitely. I
see
wear
your
glasses too, so I was like, where are my glasses? I was like, I
yeah.
got my glasses right here. But I wear glasses too, and that was one
Mhm.
thing I realized with having a job at one point that was just all computer screen. I was
Mhm.
like, my eyes were just tore up and they were just
Yeah.
a mess. I was like, okay, this helps, but like you said, rest
Yeah.
is super
Yeah.
pivotal.
It is. I didn't know how point rest was until the brain injury. So 'cause I'm a go. I'm a goer. I do 50 million things. I'm used to moving nonstop, but this slowed me down a whole lot.
Mhm. It will. It definitely will. So now I do. I take breaks. I rest. I don't feel bad
Mhm.
about it as much.
Mhm.
A little bit, but not as much.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So I call my accident as anniversary, anniversary, but we can call yours AV anniversary. So how do you
Right.
celebrate her? How do you celebrate your AV anniversary?
It's so funny because I never really thought about it. Like I know, like
Really?
I recognize the day that it
Mm-hmm.
happened, and within myself, and I like
Mm-hmm.
people around me that remember.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for the other factor is it happened on my mom's birthday,
Yeah,
so
see,
it's
Kate
not
did
really
it.
a day that I like. I celebrate, but more so like my mom. Like, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I think once you said that, I was like, I think I'm gonna start like
You should.
treating myself or doing
Yeah.
something special on that
Yeah.
day just for me
Yes.
because it's an important day and
It
it
is.
matters. So I gotta
It is.
start recognizing it more
I
often
used
than I
to
did before.
I used to write letters on Facebook. I don't think I did one this year. I'm not sure if I did or not. I don't quite remember. But I write a letter to myself. I get to myself or to the date. I call it dear June 1st. That's what I call because that's an accident happened June 1st, and so I said dear June 1st, and so I write a letter every year, and that's therapeutic for me. But for the past 3 years, my mom got me roses for my 10th year anniversary of my
Oh
accident.
wow.
And then 11 year, I recall I did 11th year or 12th year. But 13, I remember I got the balloons. And so got the balloons and that's how I celebrate that. Get those balloons and just reflecting on how good God has been to me for 13 years. And then, well, all my life really, but definitely these past 13 years. And so, but I encourage you to celebrate it.
I
I
will.
have encouraged you to celebrate it. Because it's like almost like another birth, almost like another birth. So
It
I
is.
encourage you
It
to
is
celebrate
like a new
it. It is.
birthday.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I encourage you to celebrate it. How important is shifting your mindset and changing your mindset after ABM? Because I'm sure I don't know a lot of survivors. You like the maybe the first person I know. Well, I think I know two people, and you and the other guy that had ABM.
Greg?
That who you interview with?
Yes.
Yes, him.
Greg
Yeah,
Graham?
people I know.
Yeah.
So how is it important to shift your mindset after that?
It's been really I don't really know how to put it, I guess, so much into words, but it is
Mm-hmm.
very important. I feel like it makes me like the big word I think is reflect.
Okay.
Um, because it more so of just saying what I'm gonna do going forward, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. But just remembering how far I've come,
Yes.
and what I was like before and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
like now, it's like two different people. And even
Mm-hmm.
though there are typically deficits when these things happen and things that you might not be able to do the same way that you did them before,
Mm-hmm.
you learn new ways to do
Yes,
things. And
absolutely.
it also kind of made me realize like I thought I knew what having a good life before was, and
Mm-hmm.
I know way more so now
Yes.
what having a good life really
Yes.
means. Because I didn't really care about my life back then, to be honest. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way I acted, the way that I kind of carried on, and just things that I just participated in, it just wasn't who I was. And this gave
Mm-hmm.
me an opportunity to become who I was meant to be.
That's right. I love
So
that.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. So how has prayer and your faith in God help you remain joyous?
Man, wow. I would say joy is such a hard, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I feel like some people want to be like, oh, you believe in God, you should be happy all the
Yeah.
time and you should be
Yeah.
joyous all the time.
It's not like that.
And I'm like, no. Okay, I'm still a whole human being and I have feelings and emotions.
Absolutely.
And it's just not an easy thing. I think I kind of have, as I kind of started going into adulthood, I started recognizing how much of I related to people who said that they're empaths in a sense, because they could, you just feel what everyone else is feeling. You really are a sensitive person. You may not necessarily be on the outside, because I'll be honest, I feel like I was pretty tough on the outside, but inside I feel like I could feel everything, and it was just the worst. But I feel like it kind of like, you take on a lot of responsibility. And I know now that responsibility shifted from just feeling what other people feel to having an actual responsibility to talk about feeling what other people feel, and understanding that, that people are, we have a lot of feelings, and it's okay to talk about it, so like when this happened for me, I don't, it's weird because I've had a couple of meetings with people and talk with different people, and I didn't really have a chance to like delve into it. But for me, the joy actually came from another experience within this experience, and part of that was, what a lot of people don't understand is, I saw hell when this happened. I know some people don't believe in heaven, some people don't believe in hell, some people don't believe in afterlife, none of that stuff. And you know what? If that's you, that's fine.
By all means.
No, yeah, not talking about you at all. But for me, it literally put me in, and then and the crazy part was, I thought I was crazy when this happened, because I was like, people talk about hell and they talk about this and all the time, and I'm like, no, like, when I actually started realizing there were other people out there that had the same exact experience as me, like, I'm talking about the same experience. Like, I could roll the clip of several people who literally saw the same thing that I saw. Like, some people have really pleasant experiences. Maybe their walk with God was like on point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they were doing what they're supposed to do, but I know I wasn't. And that's, for me, it was like, when it came to finding any joy or happiness, I was in such a dark place. And so the idea that I know I was like headed there, it was like, and literally God was like, he like pulling me out of the darkness and being like, I'm not going to let you stay there. But if I don't let you stay there, you have to do what I've called you to do. You got to stop running. You got to stop playing around. And so for me, it was like, now it's heavy. It's like, this is heavier now. I don't like it. And the idea of that is so, the pressure and the weight of that can sometimes damper the joy. And I know for me, when I like have like my praise and worship music, a lot of people know I love music. I'm constantly like listening to like hip hop and like all kinds of just uplifting music. And it just, music with a message. I love music with scripture, because it reinforces those positive things and those, just the goodness of God. And it makes me, it takes me from being in a space of pity and being like, I don't understand how this is going to work out or whatever, to, you know what, I'm gonna give it to God. I'm a like praise him and be thankful anyway. And it puts me in a space of gratitude. So when I get in a space of gratitude, I have no excuse not to find joy in that. I might not necessarily be like, doing jumping jacks happy, but I get there once I get back into that space of gratitude. So
So what is that one thing you do to become joyous? Like, for example, I love chocolate ice cream with sprinkles. I'm a little kid when it comes to that. I do. It makes me so happy. Like, it just brings so much joy. Is there one thing that you do, or one thing that you like eating, or something that brings you joy? Or
I love food, so I'm not even gonna lie. But I'm like a kid in a candy store. I grew up in my younger years in California, so Mexican food has been a staple in my life since I can remember, like young, little. And so anytime I get like real authentic Mexican food, I'm like a kid in a candy store. You can't. I mean, I'm like the person in a restaurant. Like I'm eating, got my fork, and I'm dancing. Like I'm a happy person when I am eating. When I am going. My husband calls me snacks. I don't appreciate it because I feel triggered, but it's okay. I love snacks. Okay, I do.
I do too. I'm
really
a snacker. I do too. I got alarms on my phone set to make sure if I forget to make sure I have snacks before I get in bed.
Okay, I need that alarm.
5:30. 5:30. My alarm going off, Erica. It say yes, it's snacks. And I have the snacks I want. That I want to make sure I have because if I don't have it, I'm not gonna be a happy camper.
That's how I feel. I feel like why am I? But you know what? I'm starting to be a little bit better with that because I'm starting to like understand like the process of like fasting a little more and like not being so overly. But let me tell you, girl, down the street there is this place called Rick's. They have the bomb brownie sundae. Okay, it is legit. It's like a custard. They don't do just ice cream. It's like a rich buttery custard. And it's so good. And I just it's my weakness. So I'll be like, babe, can you go to Rick's? And it got to the point now where I feel like he's a little bit jealous. He'd be like, you gonna go see that man again, Rick? And I was like, well, you know me and Rick got a little thing going on. Don't be upset. You know, it's just a little sundae, a little brownie, some hot fudge. It's all good.
Yeah. But I get you said fasting, and I do that myself sometimes. But every now and then, I just God knows me. God knows his daughter. He knows.
He does. I do fast
though, but
yeah, you put all these snacks in front of me like I'm not supposed to. And I think I'm like starting to get to that space where I'm like trying to find alternatives, but I'm like popcorn is probably never going away, and it's not just popcorn. I like kettle corn. And I do a little
kettle corn.
Yeah. So here's this trick. I probably shouldn't say this on here because now I feel like I'm gonna like ruin my business plan. But you know, they make this like white cheddar popcorn like sprinkles, you know, like flavoring that goes on the top of your you could put it on your popcorn or other stuff, right? Well, what I do is I buy the kettle corn popcorn that's sweet, and I get the it's like a Parmesan white cheddar topping, and I put that on top of the kettle corn. Ooh, it's fire! It's so good. It's so good.
I gotta try it. I like kettle corn. I gotta try it now.
It's good. That's like my little side snack. It's not a secret anymore, but okay.
Okay. I love it. I'm here for the snacks. Team snacks. Team snacks. Oh goodness! So, what else have you been doing with your 2.0 chance of life? As a wife entrepreneur, I know how do you juggle it all?
I don't. I just be like, God, which one you want me to do today? Because I'm gonna do one, and then whatever doesn't get done, I'm gonna go eat a snack, and then I'm gonna think about it, and then figure out what I got to do tomorrow. Yeah, like I don't know, like I've been doing a lot, but lately it's been the book. You know, it was really a big goal of mine to finish the book. And for me, it was like almost like a mission because I was working on it when I was when I got out of the hospital was when I had started work. When I got home from the hospital, I couldn't write because I'm right-handed and that side was affected. So it was like, how do I do this? I was supposed to write this book. How do I get started? And I started using the speech to text. And that I started telling my story to get what I had in my head on paper. Right. So, you know, that was kind of where it all started. But I knew that I wanted to finish school. So I'm in school. I'm like at the tail end. I've got like, I think like somewhere like, I think I want to say like 6 more classes left, something like that. I want to say like 6 more classes. I'm supposed to graduate in, I want to say like February, March of next year. Okay. So I'm trying to get the classes knocked out. But yeah, it's a lot because, you know, being a wife and a mom and trying to balance it all and the schedules. You got your own schedule. Kids got their schedules. hubby's got his schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to balance it all. But yeah, I have a calendar. I write things down. I have like multiple whiteboards. I don't think you can see it here, but I have multiple whiteboards in the house because if I'm anywhere in the house, I need to know what's happening,
I love it.
so I don't forget, because I will forget. That's just
I love it.
short-term memory was affected. So
yeah, mine was too. I had moments I'm like, what did I just say? And then no, seriously, then it come back like 10 minutes later. Like, oh,
see,
that's
mine doesn't come back. That's the thing. If once it's gone, it's gone.
gone.
Like it's
Wow.
getting better. My memory has gotten better, but it's like pulling teeth. When my husband, he'll have to say, okay, what are you trying to say? Say it now, because if I don't say it right away, it's gone. It's gone forever. Or I don't write it down, it's gone forever.
So I got a trick for you. So what I do, it sounds crazy, and my grandma can attest to this. My grandma's 89 years old, but she can attest to this. We both do the same thing. And so I said ABCs. I said A B C D E F G because it triggered the letter of the first. It triggered the letter which I think of. So I'll say it like that. I said 5,000 times A B C D E F G H I J K. I just said the alphabet over and over again until that's right. And it works every time, like a charm. Like I promise.
I just wrote that down so I don't forget, because I'm gonna have to do that.
It sounds trivial, but it works. It works.
Okay.
It works. That's my secret. That's what I do.
All right, well, I take you up on that.
Yes. So how I feel like it's so amazing. You got a book signing coming up. Like, how does it feel to be a published author? Like, how does it feel?
Honestly, it's very weird. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm just so grateful. Like the book actually I think it was like yesterday, I got like the notification that because it's been online, the paperback has been online for a couple weeks now. But it just went to ebook. So now people that want to get it on their Nooks, their Kindles, or Apple, and they don't call it iBooks anymore. It's like books. But if you want to get it on Apple, you can get it there as well. It's actually cheaper if you get the ebook version. Yeah. But it's not, it's not a super expensive book either. So I appreciate everybody I appreciate everybody that's got their copies. I really, really do.
Chelsea, y'all got the copies. I'll get mine soon.
Yes. And then just the fact, like, just being able to like have an opportunity to have somewhere that I can, talk to the people that have supported me and maybe potentially, my whole thing is I know I'm not the only person that's been through this, the only person going through it or whatever. And so to be able to meet other survivors or talk to people in person, especially with COVID being so crazy and ridiculous, I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity. And I think I'm just feel grateful to be able to do that. So I'm just excited. It's very exciting. Like I don't even. Yeah,
it's a big accomplishment. It's a big accomplishment. I know when I wrote my book, I was like, I don't think I understood the magnitude it was, and I started to get like all these different things. It's like you wrote a book, like a whole book. It's like it's just a book. Like
that's I'm like it's a book, but cool.
But it's a big deal. Like people don't finish books. People start it, don't finish it. So it's a major.
And it's a very time-consuming process. Like I don't know
the editing.
I'm sorry. Yes, the editing process. And the thing is, it depends. Like there's some people that are self-published, so they do the whole process themselves. I am not that person. I am not a self-published author. My publishing company, Christian Faith Publishing, was amazing. I just love the fact that, like from the jump, it was an exciting process, from the time I got assigned a literary agent, and then she was like, hey, we're going to publish you. And I was like, yay. And then she's like, but here's this whole list of things that has to happen before your book actually comes out. And so there's a process, and I'm grateful. Like we got this far. So I'm excited to see what happens.
As you should be. Congratulations again. It's so exciting.
Thank you.
So another question. What, if you can guess, are most survivors impacted mentally, emotionally, or physically? And why do you think that?
I say it's different for everyone, but
you can guess the most. Which would you guess? I don't know the answer, but I gotta research it. But
I don't know the answer either. But I'll tell you what it is for me, because
Go ahead.
I honestly can't
Just
even
start
guess. I would say emotionally.
there. Okay.
Um,
It's a new one.
Emotionally, because for me, the survivor's guilt has, and
Mm,
it's like a teeter totter. On the, like, one end is survivor's guilt and the other end is purpose. And it's
mm,
like, I'm supposed to, like, be okay because purpose matters, and I'm supposed to care about what happens going forward with my life. There's a reason I'm
mm,
still alive. And the other end, it's like, but how many people didn't make it from what I went through? You know what I
mm.
mean? And
Yeah.
they've been through it, and their family members are going through it.
Yeah.
And so you just, you it's like it takes an emotional toll on you, because
Yeah.
you sometimes question, you're like, okay, God, so why me? What do you want me to do? Because I don't know why I'm still here,
You're
um but
something.
he has a purpose. But yeah, it's, I think physical impairments, that's something that can improve over time sometimes.
Mhm.
It's not always perfect, but there you can kind of see improvements. I think mentally, I've always kind of been tough, but emotionally, I've never been like a super strong person with
Mm.
emotions. So, but yeah.
I like that. I like the answer. It's a well-rounded answer. This and it's the first time anybody's ever said emotional. So
Oh
that's a
yeah.
new one. That's a new one.
I'm
Most
a
people.
whole emotional ball of
Oh.
feelings. Like, people don't know that, and I'm again too much. But this is what happens. You get on here with Erica Renee. She gets you in
Yeah.
your feelings. You're in your emotions.
You gotta get into
But
it. You gotta
yeah,
get into it. Okay. Two more questions. What encouragement would you give to a newly injured survivor or AVM survivor? What encouragement would you tell them
take
of
your
the
time. Take your time. Take your time. Take your
it's no
time.
rush?
Think of what you're grateful for. Find
Mhm.
something in the moment that you're grateful for. I talked about it in
Mhm.
my book, but for me, it was coffee. I've since switched to decaf, so I'm
Mhm.
sorry for for all my coffee lovers out there. I still appreciate coffee, but I've since switched to decaf for personal reasons, because the caffeine was just too much for
Mhm.
me. But the coffee, really just a simple, like I think that was one of the things when I was in the hospital. I actually remember getting, I was in my wheelchair. I wasn't allowed to walk to this
Mhm.
room. They had like this, it's like this room that overlooks kind of like this part of the city where the hospital was. And it
Mhm.
was beautiful. It's like this new wing and it's nice. They had a cappuccino machine. And I was like,
Ooh.
ooh, I told the nurse, I was like, wheel me there, put me in the hallway and take me there. And I was able to get like my first cup of coffee, and I was just like ecstatic. And I was like, yo, this just feels so good. And I was like, I don't want to
Mhm.
forget how good this feels, because I took this for granted. Like, people wake up every day, go to Starbucks or go
Mhm.
wherever and get their coffee, and like, just kind of took it for granted to be able to get up in the morning and do so many things for myself. And that's something that I don't do anymore, so I'm super grateful. And I say, take your time. um you know don't rush it. It's going to be a process.
Mhm.
I put on music that makes me feel good.
Mhm.
So I say, listen to uplifting music. Don't listen to depressing music. Like,
Yeah.
don't listen to sad music. Like, it'll
Yeah.
put you in a hole and you'll stay there. Like, music is powerful.
It
um
is.
because words are powerful. So I've created playlists that encourage me. And I just don't want to wallow in my coulda, woulda, shouldas,
Mhm.
and just focus on how far you've come. Celebrate with your community. Like I said, if you go through something like this, hopefully that you're able to find a community of people that is just like you. Check
Mhm.
online for forums or communities that are people that are just like you, that you can talk to, because that helps.
Agreed. Agreed. And the last question: what does AVM awareness mean to you?
I would say, really, it just means it's kind of like a combination, but it's educating myself.
Okay.
Um, I still don't know everything that there is to know about the brain and brain
Mhm.
injuries,
I
but
don't think we,
I
I don't think we
know.
ever will. I don't think we ever will.
Right.
It's
I
always
thought
changing.
it's
So.
so
I don't think we
complex. There's so
will.
many new procedures and there's so much,
Mhm.
so many options, and it's
Mhm.
just a lot. But I just look at it like, being aware of what the statistics are, advocating, and like using what you've been through to help other people. It
That's
really,
right.
really matters. So for me, like, being able to talk to Congress this year about
That's powerful.
brain aneurysms, and being able to just have the opportunity to do that, because what it made me realize was I'm able to speak in a space that so many other people who didn't survive would have wanted to advocate for had they survived it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, being a voice.
So for me, that's really important. And yeah, that's what it means to me. Just speaking for the people.
I love that. I love that. Is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to talk about, or?
I think I always have something to say. People know they're like, oh, she always has something to say. Yeah, I actually did want to I wanted to just read something really quickly if I had a moment.
Please.
1 second, let me grab it. So one thing, I think there was a couple of things. There's like a few things that I kind of like realized this kind of it will affect people. It can affect people in a positive way or a negative way. Things like this can give you more confidence, and you're like, I got a new lease on life, or you'll be fearful. You'll be walking around scared or afraid of what's going to happen next or whatever. But it's a scripture, Hebrews 13:6 says, this should make you feel like saying, the Lord helps me. Why should I be afraid of what people can do to me? And that's something that I know I've taken into this, like from this experience and into life as it is now. Because before I cared about what other people thought. I cared about other people said. I didn't want to stand up for what I believed in. And this experience taught me, like, you know what? God saved your life. Absolutely. He allowed you to be here, but you know what your condition is. You can't just be here and be the person you were before. And in my case, it's, I know I'm supposed to be a light. I know I'm supposed to, help other people who have been through this. And just let them know they're not by themselves. So for me, that was a major part. I also want to say I'm encouraged because other people have encouraged me. Oh, yeah. Nothing that I've done has been of my own merit. I give all glory to God for everything that I have been able to accomplish so far. But I will say I do want to give a special shout out to Diane Batchelor. She has a book called God in the Meantime.
Okay.
And it is an incredible book. It's actually the first book that I've read in entirety since my brain injury.
Wow.
That's how good it is. It's such a good book. It's so real. I could relate to so many things. So I would definitely recommend getting the book God in the Meantime by Diane Batchelor. She's amazing, amazing writer. And she's such a sweet person. I was able to kind of reach out to her and just tell her how great, of an impact that her story had on me as well. But yeah, so really, I would just say, at this point, I wouldn't be anywhere without my faith in God. So whatever, you're going, Siri is talking to me. See, this is.
Wait, should I get in on it?
Yes. But yeah, it's just, I'm just, like I said, I'm so thankful and I'm grateful. Jeremiah 29:11, you know that one too.
I know about that for you. The plans.
Yes, those plans. So I know God has plans for me. I don't know what they look like. I don't, I used to be the person trying to figure out, what's going to happen tomorrow, or like just this huge ball of anxiety. And I honestly am so grateful that I've been released from that anxiety. And I just feel such a peace, and I can't explain it, but I'm at peace. This is a good space in my life. So
it's a blessing. God is so good. I tell you, He's so good.
He really is.
He's so good. Well, I'll try to for 1 minute, Minda. But thank you so much for being my guest. My first guest on season 3. Yay! And sharing your story, experience, and helping change someone's life, because I know someone's life will be changed. Or, if you share with somebody else's life can be changed. So this is a life-changing platform. So I know it affects people's lives. So what you do is not going unnoticed. Thank you again for your time. It's been such a fun interview, such a blessing to, you know, connect with you in different ways. So I enjoyed you, and I know everybody else gonna enjoy you as well too. So I thank you all.
Thank
Thank you for joining.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I appreciate you, sis.
Yes, this always, always. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Terry Minda's story, Papa story. You can connect. Let's tell people they can connect with you.
Um, I would say Instagram is probably the easiest way. It's Gimgoo page, so it's at
Oh,
GIMUPAGE. Gimgoo page on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I think that's what you're supposed to have if you have a book
mhm.
out. So I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really on Facebook like that.
Me neither.
Instagram's
I'm
probably
owner author. Mhm.
yeah, Instagram's probably the easiest way
Yeah,
to get in touch with me. But yeah, I love talking with you and
thank
I
you.
can't
I'll
wait.
talk with you as well. I can talk to you all day long.
I know.
But also support her book, My Disentanglements, an
Yes.
AVM Survivor Story by Minda Thurman. If you get that, I'm gonna check it out myself, get my copy. So if you support her, get your copy as well. So that's all for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed meeting Minda, learning more about her. To stay connected with me always on Instagram, Erica R. Walker 878, and on YouTube, Erica Renee Walker. But see you next week for another story of triumph. I'm Erica Renee, and remember, we all have a story, and you too can change the world with yours. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you